This is Mat Pilates. My name is Fen. Welcome, welcome. For Mat Pilates, it is exercises based on, focused on your core musculature, which is anything that attaches to your spine and your pelvis. You'll need a yoga mat, and if you have a thicker mat or like double yoga mats, that it's a little better because we're on our backs the majority of the time. And so sometimes if you're on a hardwood floor, it can be a little taxing to your spine. I'll give modifications throughout the class. Feel free to keep your knees bent, keep your lower back imprinted. Do what works for you, okay? I will give, again, like I said, variations of different exercises throughout the class. Drink water, take breaks whenever you need. This is gonna be 45 minutes. We'll end with a little stretch at the end. I think that's pretty much it. Feel free to play music at your place. I'm not playing music here so that like my voice can be heard through, but as long as you can hear my voice, please feel free to play any kind of music that you like in your background. Okay, so go ahead and get on your mats. And you can place your device in a position that doesn't make you like strain your neck to look at it. So sometimes I find that to be kind of to the slight left, like I put my phone like right here at the, or my device at the sort of slight angle to near my feet, because then you're looking down the length of your body and your neck won't be turning as much. Now I'm gonna be turning my neck a lot to look at you guys, but that's because I need to position my camera in a way that you guys can see me clearly. Okay? Let's start with our breathing. So inhale, if you want, you can sit nice and tall, lifting to the top of the head. Exhale, relax your spine. Just kind of curve that spine down. Drawing the abs in. Inhale, lifts. Exhale, lower. Inhale. Exhale. Good. We're inhaling through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. If you're to blow on hot soup, you blow like you're really trying to cool it down. So you want to engage your abdominals as you forcefully exhale. Good, take your feet so they're about hip distance apart. They shouldn't be right next to each other. And we're gonna roll all the way down. Inhale and exhale, slowly roll down. Good, my feet are still hip distance apart. You can bend your knees a little bit more. Inhale, let your chest rise, rib cage expand. Exhale, allow your abdominals to sink downwards. Inhale, lift, chest. Exhale, abs. Inhale. And exhale. We're going to be keeping our lower back imprinted for the majority of the class, so making sure there's no space. Your hand can't get under there. And we're going to lift the legs to tabletop. So our Pilates warm-up. I like to do a kind of a standardized warm-up. Exhale, lower one of the legs. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. So you can do Pilates in socks or barefoots. If your feet are cold, definitely keep the socks on. We don't recommend wearing shoes in Pilates, mostly because we want to point and flex our feet, and shoes kind of restrict that. As I'm exhaling, the movement, if you notice, is only from the hip joint. The knees stay bent at 90 degrees. All this, waist and above, is very strong, imprinted, stable against that floor. Good, so now both feet will lower, and don't feel obligated to go all the way to the floor. If you feel any strain in the lower back, you stop about halfway and go back up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Good, one more time. And now we're going to keep the feet up, but squeeze the knees together. So imagine there's like a towel or something between your knees. You're going to squeeze, actively squeeze with those inner thighs. You can take your hands out to the side, and we're going to do what we call windshield wipers. So taking it to one side, and I'm only going about halfway down, not going too far down. If you don't have a really thick mat, this may bother sort of your tailbone area. So what you can do is if you wanted to like double up the mat like this is what I do sometimes. Just for right under my hip. Just an option. And having a little towel nearby can also help. So we're taking our legs side to side. Notice that I'm not dropping my heels and then taking my legs side to side. I'm keeping the 90-degree knee bends, and my thighs are like the windshield wipers. They just go side to side. I press into my hands to help stabilize. It's an inhale to lower. Exhale to come back in. It can also be an exhale to lower. As long as you are breathing, I am happy. And I think you'll be happy too as long as you're breathing. The knees may come apart a little bit as you lower, but again, don't feel obligated to take the knees all the way to the ground. So finishing up on whatever side you're on, and then you can bring your feet back down. Again, hip distance apart here. We're gonna roll through our shoulder bridge. Inhale. Exhale, start with the tailbone. Squeeze your butt. Even as you're rolling up one vertebra at a time, you think about actually reaching your knees away from the shoulders. So think length to the front of your body. Now, as you slowly lower down, one vertebra at a time, keep the butt squeezing. Squeeze your glutes until your tailbone is resting on the floor. And then you can relax your butt. Inhale. Exhale, once again, squeeze the glutes. Reach those knees away from the head, away from the shoulders. Abs are nice and tight. Good. I'll just lift my arms here so you can see. And then you want to slowly roll down. This is called articulation of the spine. Is this easier to see? I can't tell. I forget I have to color coordinate my clothing to the room so that I'm easily seen. All right, let's do one more. Rolling it up. And then rolling it back down. Good. Ab prep, it basically looks like a crunch. Inhale, nod the chin. Exhale, lift head, neck, and shoulders, and reach toward the toes. Actively reaching. Arms are active. Abs are active. Good. And lower back down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, hold. Exhale, lower. The challenge here is the inhale at the top. So as you exhale here, your abs naturally sink down. That's what happens when you exhale anyways. But what's really challenging is you trying to take a breath in and recruiting those abs and keeping those abs tight as you inhale. And then exhale, relax. Inhale, exhale. So it's learning how to breathe in while keeping the abdominals contracted. Yeah, a couple more. And then we're going to do this with our legs lifted in tabletop. So this time you can have your knees together. Knees over the hips, more or less. And same thing. Same breathing. I'm just going to scoot a little closer. Look at some of these. Good. Again, as long as you're inhaling and exhaling, it's not really critical when you're doing it. I do find that it's easier to exhale during the exertion. Okay, so if you are good to go, we're going to segue our way into hundreds. So that you can keep your legs right where they are. You can also put your feet back on the ground. You can extend the legs overhead, and you can have it extended on the diagonal. Okay, and then from here, we're in our crunch position, but we're going to stay up. So this is endurance while we're breathing, abs nice and tight. 100 counts. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 10. Inhale, 5 counts. Exhale, 5 counts. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale, 2, 3, 4, 30. Inhale. Exhale, 40. Inhale. Exhale, 50. Inhale. Remember, your legs can be at any position that I showed. Inhale. Exhale. 70. Keep reaching with the arms. Keep the shoulder blades lifted. There's 80. Inhale. Exhale. 90. Inhale. Exhale. 100. Good. Pretty quick 100. Toss away my socks. For our spine warm-up, so this is our last warm-up exercise. We did mostly all abdominals, we did some glutes, and now we're gonna do our spine. So we're gonna keep the tops of the feet on the mats, forearms on the floor, and just as before when we lifted only the shoulder blades off the mat for that prep or for the crunch, we're only gonna lift the part of the chest that's opposite the shoulder blade, so the really top part of the chest. You can inhale, lift, exhale, lower. The way we gently nodded our chin as we crunched, we're gonna gently nod our chin again. And it is a gentle nod. You don't need to jam your chin all the way down into your chest. Just enough space for a small apple under there. And that helps to keep the head and neck aligned with the spine. Now, when I'm looking at the camera, my head isn't aligned with the spine. You wanna look at the ground and keep the back of the neck nice and lengthened. Inhale and exhale. If you want to try a different arm variation, this is more similar to the crunch, where your arms are reaching towards your toes. So notice this movement is exactly the opposite of the crunch. The crunch, you're curling up against gravity, but towards your knees, and you're engaging the abdominal muscles. And here, you are lifting up against gravity again, but since you're on your stomach, you're moving your spine in exactly the opposite direction as the crunch. Good, last one. Take your hands under your shoulders and give yourself a little stretch. So it's important to do both. Every time you do spine flexion, which is the crunches, you also want to do spine extension, which is the arching of the back. Your spine should move in both directions. Okay. Onto our butts. Half roll back. Always like to do this early on. It really does wake up your abs. So this is all taking advantage of our body position as it relates to gravity. If we stay very vertical and barely lean back, we won't feel as much. If we get to about the halfway point, then we start to feel a lot of gravitational pull in those abs. Keep those shoulders relaxed as we exhale, and then inhale, lift. Exhale, lower, just halfway. Inhale. So we want to create kind of a flow of movement here in Pilates. We don't really have too many stationary positions. The plank is probably one of the few, because your breath is always flowing. It's either going in or out. So our movement coordinates with our breath. As we exhale, we'll lean back. As we inhale, we'll come up. Add an arm variation. As we exhale, the right arm comes up. As close to the ear as you like. The closer to the ear, the more challenging. So anywhere between horizontal arms and vertical arms. Okay? Maybe I'm going to do just a diagonal here. I'm not going to go all the way vertical. That creates different challenges to your abs when your arms transitions its weight from in front to over your shoulders. Good. 2 more times. Okay, and then we're going to roll all the way down. And slowly, please. So if you're in this competition, the winner would be the last person, not the first, the last person that goes down. Okay, we don't need to milk it down much. So here, on our backs, so one thing that, well, a lot of people talking about is this roll up that is very challenging to get up, okay? And that's partially, it's usually not due to abdominal weakness, it's usually due to spine mobility. So we're going to use our legs because we don't have any dumbbells or any weights that can help us. We're going to use our leg here. So if you want to try this version, feel free. You can lift the right leg, or any leg, biceps or by the ears. You're going to start with the arms, the head, the shoulders, and then as you get stuck here, which you will because of this leg, you're going to kick your leg forward, and that'll help give you a little bit of momentum to come up. Okay, and then you're going to reach forward for a stretch, and then you're going to slowly come down, but with both feet on the ground. And I do want you to heavily anchor your feet, heavily anchor your heels to the ground. So keeping it nice and engaged legs as you roll down. Let's try it with the other leg. So arms, head, shoulder blades, kick the leg toward the other. So now both feet are next to each other, and that should hopefully help us get up. Good. And then again, working our abs, resisting gravity. Remember, the winner is the slowest here. Exhale, exhale. Now, if you want to try the roll up without the legs, then it would look like this. Arms, head, shoulder blades, and then spine. So what the leg does is it just kind of, when you straighten it out, it kind of gives you a little bit of assistance with the roll up. Use the legs, use that single leg kick I showed you if you are getting a little bit stuck. The end goal here is that you want to get up so that you can come down slowly. That's where the work is, the coming down. So if you can't make it up, then you never get the benefit of the coming down. Inhale, exhale, strong legs, anchor legs. Similar to what we did in the roll, half roll back, if you wanted to lift your arms here or here, it changes how your abs work as you lower down. And this is, again, why I love Pilates. There's so many different positions you can put your body in that create more challenges. You don't even need to find weights or any other external source. It's just about knowing your body, finding the right body position so that you are challenged using gravity. Good, let's do one more, all the way up. And we're actually gonna stay seated up. Seated, sorry. We're gonna stay sitting. And then we're actually gonna flip over. So all that spine flexion, again, we wanna undo it with spine extension. So we're gonna add resistance. Remember how I said you can use arms for resistance? If you stack your hands together and put it under your forehead, now you're lifting the weight of your arms. Okay? Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. You still want the tops of the feet to stay on the mats, but you want strong legs. They're not just relaxed here. Inhale and exhale. Now, if you recall the two other versions we did earlier, the one where we're reaching toward our toes, and then the other with spine support, feel free to do any of those versions. Any arm position is, you're still doing spine extension. Inhale, exhale. One of the nice things about having the hands stacked under your forehead is that it automatically keeps your head and neck aligned with the spine. Because the moment you take your head off the hands, that's when your head is out of alignment. So this is a really good accountability factor for head and neck position. Let's do a couple more, or if your spine's starting to feel it, then go ahead and sit back into that stretch. Creating a curve. Feeling the stretch all along here. And now we're going to do the plank. So the plank is, your body is straight, and we're working the transverse abdominis. I'm going to be on my wrist, but feel free to be on your elbows. And again, Pilates, a lot of times we're doing a flow. So the way they flow in Pilates is they move the legs. So first find your plank. If your butt's a little high, that's okay, as long as you feel in your abs. If your butt is this high, you might not be feeling in your abs. You also want your shoulders over the wrist. So usually a good position Sorry about my shirt, it's a little loose today. But you want to be in a position where you feel your abdominals a lot. And then the flow is you inhale, lift, exhale, points, inhale, flex, and lower. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. You don't have to do the lifting of the leg. If you do, it is not very high. It shouldn't be so high it disturbs your butt or your pelvis. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Eye gaze should be on the space between your thumbs, keeping the head and neck aligned, or on the space between your elbows. Yeah, we're going to do one more on each leg. Leg strong, ab strong, glute strong, and definitely your arms too. Good. Shake out those wrists. And we are on to our back again. Hugging your knees into the chest. We're going to have our head down on the ground to start, but then I'm going to pick it up for adding a little more intensity to the abs. If your neck muscles get fatigued, you just place it back down. Good. So first, establishing the single leg stretch. A good middle point is to reach for about 45 degrees. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfectly 45. We're not in geometry here. But if you go straight up to vertical, you're hugging one knee in and other vertical, see how much you feel in your abs. You might not feel as much because there's no gravitational pull when your legs are vertical. So then you go to like 70, maybe 30, starting to feel a little more of the abs, and then maybe you lift the head, neck, and shoulder blades, and now you really feel it. Good. So let's continue here. The breathing is exhale to extend, inhale to switch, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. Good, so this is called single leg stretch, and then we're going to do bicycle or obliques, which is a rotation. So I take my hands behind the head, which you don't have to. You can actually reach across if that helps you with rotation. Whatever helps. So both shoulder blades are off the ground, your neck is supported, and you're still exhaling as you stretch one leg out, and you're inhaling as it switches. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. Keeping that lower back imprinted. Good. Let's finish up here, and we'll take our legs to tabletop. If you need to lower the head, this is a good time to do it. You can always bring it back up later. Double leg stretch. Once again, start with more of a vertical angle. See how your abs feel. See how your lower back feels. All right? Strong in the quads. And again, if your head is down, it looks like this. And then, test it out. I'm going to go a little lower on those leg angles. Biceps will go by the ears and no further. So if my head is down, my biceps can go very close to the ground because that's where my ears are. That's the farthest my arms will go. Now, when I lift the head, neck, and shoulders up, trust me, you don't want your arms going too far past your ears anyways. So find the combination that works for you. Maybe your legs are at 30 degrees and your arms are right by the ears. Or legs are vertical and your arms are not by your ears, but they too are mostly vertical. Okay? What works for your abs? What is challenging but doable? That's the question you should be asking yourself. Challenging but doable. Okay, legs straight. I'm grabbing behind the calves. If your head is down, you might not be able to reach the calves depending on the length of your arms and how close you can get your leg to the head. Inhale, switch, exhale. Inhale, switch, exhale. It's okay if your legs aren't perfectly straight. You're going to feel a good hamstring stretch regardless. You're fighting to have your legs as straight as possible, and that works the quads around your knees. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Last two. On each side, that is. Last one on each side. And good. Whew. So time to flip over again. I'm going to try to balance out the spine work and the ab work. I vary this in each class. Sometimes I do a lot of spine, sometimes I don't. If you think about it, there aren't that many variations of spine exercises. I mean, there's a lot more variations of abdominal exercises. We're going to get some range of motion in our shoulders here. So this is called breaststroke. So you're low and you reach forward, circle the arms to the side, and then once again, reaching those arms to the back, opening up the chest, keeping the chin slightly down, and that's your breaststroke. Imagine if you were in water, you would exhale here because your head's in the water, and then you would inhale here as your head breaks out of the water to take that breath. Exhale, dive and glide forward. Inhale, push. Wait, is that right? I haven't been in a pool much. Exhale, reach. Inhale, lift the chest. Good. So we're trying to get as much range of motion in the shoulders as we can. Hands close to the body, reach forward, circle to the side, and reach back. Just a reminder that you don't need to keep your eye gaze on me on the screen. Depends on where your device is. You want to keep that head and neck aligned with the spine. Okay. Let's stay right here for a moment. Rest the upper body and move our legs. So just quickly look for a second before you face down. I'm squeezing my butt. I'm squeezing my quads so my leg lifts straight up. So it's not this because that's a hamstring curl. But we also don't want to do this where we lift the hip up. So our hip bones are really close to the ground and they stay there. So this is what it looks like. Exhale, exhale. I want you to rest your forehead on your hands and try to relax the shoulders. The reason why you want to keep your hips down on the ground is because you don't want to strain your back. You are working this area. It all connects right through the glutes. But it's not about how high you lift your leg. It's how much hip extension you create. So how much movement here without shifting your whole body. So do a couple more on each side. And if that bothers your lower back in any way, don't lift as high. And really think about squeezing the butt and the abs. I know we're lying on our abs, so it's kind of weird to squeeze it. But the more you can stabilize from the front into the glutes, the more stable your lower back will feel. All right, we can take a quick stretch if you're not already stretching. Okay, we're gonna do some glute work. So as I said at the beginning of class, Pilates is core musculature. A lot of times people think core is just abs, but it's not. It's anything that attaches to your spine and your pelvis. So glutes are actually a core muscle. So next time someone says work your core, you're like, oh yeah, I know, I love my butt. Yeah, because it's not just your abs. So here is I guess I'll try to tighten this here. So here is our glute bridge that we did earlier in the warm-up, but this is without articulation. So notice I'm not lifting first the tailbone and then rolling up and then rolling back down. Good. So there's a lot of variations here that you can do. In the past weeks, we've done many, many variations. One variation I'm going to do right now, if you think about this midline, just turn this way for a second. When you think about this midline, you lift like this. If we stay within our range, it's pretty easy, but the moment we go out of our range, it's really hard to stabilize. What happens is I just want to fall if I give in, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep my abs tight, really keep this muscle engaged, extend out probably 30 degrees, definitely no more than 45, and bring it back in. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. My knees are going to be aligned with each other. So once I lift up both hips, same height, I straighten the right leg or any leg, but notice it's not higher than my other knee. It's right next to it. And I'm going to reach it out. I know it's kind of hard to tell depth from the video, but I'm just going out and then back towards the midline. Away from the midline, back to the midline. Let's do 3 more times. We'll do 5 times total. Exhale. Really recruit your abs there on that exhale. Okay? And then just bend your knees and take a break. Lower back down. Now that you've seen it from that angle, I'm going to show this angle. I think this angle is easier. Lift, and it's your other leg. Both knees are next to each other, and then you'll go out to the side. Don't go so far that your whole body just tilts. Don't go so far that your hip drops, like your left hip drops. So do 5 there, and your hands, they're helping stabilize. Press into the floor with your hands and stabilize there. Look at your hips. Right and left hips stay equal. Okay, bring it in, lower back down. So now try it where the leg is vertical. And then you can tell me which one's harder. And if I did the harder one first and the easier one second, then it's like, great. And if I did the easier one first and the harder one second, okay, great. It's just different for everyone. So I'm back to my first leg and it's vertical. And then I'm gonna take it out to the side. So I'm moving it away from the midline, all while keeping my hips still. So we're gonna do 5, so I think that's 5. Bend the knee, and then lower the hips. Okay, so the thing is, at an angle, it generally is a little harder to keep the hips up, but when the leg is vertical, it's a little harder to keep the leg straight with hamstrings being tight. For 1, 2, 3. Feel free to use your hands. 4, and of course your abs are stabilizing. And 5. Back down. Okay, all good there? So that is your glutes as well as abdominal stabilizers. All right, we're gonna come back onto our stomach here. Actually, yeah, stomach. And we're gonna lift arms and legs. So you're gonna form a very narrow X on your mat. So the legs go to the corners of the mat, the arms go to the corners as well. And you're gonna lift right arm, left leg, and lower, and then left arm, right leg, and lower. It's always opposing limbs that lift. So you're getting a nice diagonal posterior chain connection here. So everything on the back side of your body, from rear deltoids to the glute, engaging. By no means do you have to do this, but if you want to lift all 4 limbs, feel free. Don't worry about how high you lift it, because the moment you lift all 4 off the ground, your muscles are engaged. Inhale, exhale. Recruit those abdominals. Keep those abs nice and tight, especially if you feel in the lower back. And if you're still feeling the lower back, then I would suggest not doing the leg lifts. All right, you can get plenty of spine work by lifting the upper body by itself. Okay. We're going to do some side planks. So side plank, I'm going to do it on my elbow. You can have both knees bent. You can have just the bottom knee bent and the top leg straight. You can also have both legs straight. I'm going to do this version here. I'm going to reach to the top. I'm going to lift and lower. You can choose to lower all the way down to the mat if you'd like, or you can go halfway down and not fully rest. Couple more. Strong through the shoulder here, so we're not sinking into our shoulder. And Let's try the other side. If you want to face the other way, you've already seen how it's done. Now we don't have to like flip head over heels. I always like to reach my arm up. I feel like it creates lift for my bottom shoulder. Let's do about 8 of these. Contraction point is here. You really feel the obliques on the bottom as you lift up. Exhale, lift. Exhale on the exertion. Couple more. Okay, we're going to do an exercise called the reverse plank. And reverse plank sometimes is a lot for shoulders. Usually it's due to flexibility, or if you've had any shoulder injuries. So if this does not feel good, right, when you lift, you can try this version where it's still a lot on the shoulders, but it's at least less stress on the shoulders because this is a lot. And then if that's still too much, then do a plank. That way we're all holding a plank of some sort. So it's a reverse plank is a plank variation. My fingertips are pointing to my butt. Good, and I lift my hips. Now for feet, I've seen turnout where people are resting on the outer edges of their feet. And if that feels good for you, turn out. If not, you can always just be on your heels and keep a neutral foot position. Good. And again, this is an option too. And I just like to offer a little bit of flow here. There's a flow. Exhale, inhale. This is all optional. Exhale, inhale. Well, this whole class is optional, right? Exhale, inhale. One more time on the other side. And that is our reverse plank flow. Good, shake out that wrist. Teasers. Now, one of the reasons I liked showing this variation earlier is because it is partly work of the teaser. So this is a teaser variation, believe it or not. So if we go back to that movement we did where we kick the leg out like this, but this time I would like you to kick it up that way. So it looks like this. Arms, head, shoulder blades, kick the leg up. Does it need to be this high? No, it can be down here. And does it need to be straight? No, it can be here. Okay? But I do want it to stay lifted. And then let's keep it lifted as we roll back down and then return to knee over the hip. Let's keep the same leg here for 4 of these, and then we'll switch legs. Inhale, arms, head, shoulders. Gotta get these 3 things up. Head, neck, shoulders. And then kick the leg out and spine. Kick the leg out and crunch. Okay, you can bend here, and then slowly open back up and down. Because the straight leg is always anchored for you, it's not as critical that you pull the knee back right away. You can keep it out there. 2 more. Feel free to go at your own pace. Inhale, arms, head, neck, shoulders. Exhale. Our goal here is to be very smooth. There's the smoothness. Let's try it again. Inhale, arms, head, shoulders, spine, legs. Good, and this is a lot of work. I know you feel it. Quads, hip flexors. Yeah, so all there. Straighten the leg, lift the other. Inhale, arms, head, shoulders, crunch, spine, and legs. Inhale, exhale. Remember, you're working on the way down as well, so don't rush the lowering. If you need to use a little bit of momentum on the way up, do that because you need to get up so that you can get the benefit of the roll down. Oh, I like what I see. Good job. Feel free to try the variation where your leg is always straight. You guys are kind of figuring out, right, all these variations. Knees bent, knees straight. Good. So here, with the legs already straight, you really can't kick it out. So it's a little more challenging, isn't it? Good. And what can I do with my arms to make it even more challenging? My legs are here, my arms are here. Oh goodness. Ugh. Wait, was that 4? I stopped counting. Why don't you do one more if you're counting? And you can do one more for good luck. Can't believe I can't count to 4 anymore. Jeez. Okay. So let's do one more exercise before we start to stretch. I just turned myself around. So all this is all sort of upper abdominal work. So I want to just hit a little bit of the lower stuff. Okay, so you can bend your knees, crisscross your ankles, like this. And then it's a hip lift. I open my knees, I squeeze them together. This is the last exercise we'll do. This is called a rollover prep because eventually what you do, you can switch the crossing of your ankles each time if you'd like. So instead of rolling up head, neck, shoulders, I'm rolling tailbone, butts, lower back. Either way, it's flexing of the spine, right? We're creating this curvature. That's called a rollover prep because eventually you keep your ankles crossed, I guess, but eventually you take your legs up and over. Okay, we're not gonna do that today, but this is actually, I find that the rollover prep is a very, very, very effective exercise. Maybe even more so than the rollover itself. Okay, a couple more. Fatigue those abs. Good, and then let's stretch. So we did do some glute work here when we're doing the shoulder bridges. But in general, if you do squats, lunges, anything in your daily routine, is a really great stretch to do. And what I want to show you here really is the spine stretch. So you've probably done this stretch before, but you're going to straighten out, you're going to take, so if you have your right leg over your left, you're going to take everything to the left. If you have your left leg over your right, you're going to take everything toward your right. So you basically want to go toward your bottom leg. Go toward your bottom leg. Form a T with your arms, get both shoulder blades on the floor. So this is a spine twist with a little bit more twist because we have this leg that's going over our midline over our body in a pulled up stretch state. So you feel the glutes and the lower back a little bit more as compared to if your leg was down here and you just pull the leg here. All right, so we're using this bottom leg, pulling it up, and that intensifies the stretch a little bit, taking it into the outer thighs and glutes. I know, we're just a twisted mess on the floor here. Okay, so how are we come undone? We just gotta just get back onto our backside. Switch the crossing of your leg. Let's set up the glute stretch first. Your arms are probably already out to a T. And then we're going to go towards the bottom leg. Try to anchor both shoulder blades. If you take everything with you, then you're not really twisting anymore. So part of the reasoning of the anchored shoulder blade and the twisted pelvis is that you ensure that a twist is happening in your body. Are we still breathing? Okay, good. Pilates exercises are stretch and strength in one, so we don't need to do too many stretches, but I always like to do at least one stretch at the end. So let's talk just about our posture. Lots of reasons to do Pilates. It's a really great balance to any sort of high impact running that you do or any high impact dances that you do. or strength training tightens the muscles, right, when you contract. So you want to lengthen it back out for safety and for optimal length. So if you're always contracting and your muscles never re-lengthen, then you end up being this tight muscle knots everywhere, all around your body. So that's what we want to do here. And also we want to talk about posture. I just want you to reach your arms up nice and high. And here, see if you can shrug your shoulders. If you can't shrug them, it probably means you're already shrugging. So I know it sounds very weird, but you want to try to not shrug your shoulders even though your arms are overhead. Good. Now just have your arms come here, same thing. Sometimes we hold so much tension in our shoulders and neck, we don't even realize that this isn't the norm. This feels normal. And then when we do this, we're like, oh, wait, that's so strange. And then we bring it back down here. Good. And if you are working from home, a lot of hours at a laptop, you know, these are the kind of stuff that I would have you do. It's a quick test to see if you're holding tension in your shoulders. Thank you very much for joining me for Mat Pilates.